Hey, it's Shawn from Slots with Shawn. You're watching season 4 of the Gambling Icons podcast. Today I am here with Dan from the Good Life 88. Dan, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Shawn?
No complaints. For
Awesome.
folks that don't know, I want you to be able to give a quick introduction of who you are and anything else you want to share.
Sure. Well, I'm Dan Goodlife of the Good Life 88. I have a reasonably popular YouTube channel. I'm also on other social medias, but my YouTube channel's The Good Life 88, if you put in the search bar. And I do all sorts of videos, mostly Buffalo nowadays, 7 Buffalo videos a week, and then an extra 3 videos of just like Dragon Link or something fun that isn't Buffalo. So you get all sorts of Buffalo and gambling and content from pretty much around the United States. If you want to watch it, that's where you got to go.
That's where you got to go. I got to say, one thing I appreciate you before we get started is your humility. I feel like in all the conversations that we've had, it's been a very humble experience. Just kind of chit chatting. There's no ego. There's no, even just that in the intro, a reasonably popular YouTube channel.
It's, I guess I'm realistic, right? I will always think of myself as a smaller, any type of social media channel platform, just because it took for me so long to get to any point where I was actually getting a decent amount of views where I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Because there's like 3 years of just posting a video every day and,
Mm,
50 people, maybe 100 would watch it. And then it just tanks and flatlines. And you go, what did I do wrong? So
yeah.
when you get some little bit, like I've always thought, like, I don't want to be a jerk. Like I want to be reasonably nice up to a certain limit where, you have interactions with people. I'm not any better than you, at least in my opinion. So I'll treat
Don't you
you as
forget
such.
it.
And
Don't you forget it.
that's right, Shawn. Hail the podcast. But yeah,
The
it's
podcast
it's it's
overlord.
something I hope others will emulate if they ever get popular. That you will interact with people, and if you are kind of a jerk, people will talk about you later. And that's not the reason I'm not being a jerk, but it does also later you go, oh, somebody said something nice about me. That's nice. Like I wonder
Mm,
why. I guess it's just the threshold is so low for certain people that when they meet somebody who just isn't too cocky
yeah.
and that way, I guess that's good. Like my bar is higher by default by accident. So, yay.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, you do in this field, especially in the creator world, and just what we do, we
Right.
definitely find some folks that are lacking in the humility. So,
It,
but
it's all part of the job, you just different
exactly,
humans doing different human things. Some are awesome, some are not. And, you try to
yeah,
get along as best you can.
some are awesome, some are not. And before I allow myself to get too negative here, cheers,
We're
my
not going
friend. We both
negative,
got
all positive
cocktails.
vibes here.
Yeah, fair. Cheers. We both got some cocktails going on this evening.
Cheers.
Uh, what are you drinking again? Remind me.
This is an espresso martini.
Any inspiration from Sabrina Carpenter in espresso?
You know, my only inspiration is it's tasty and I needed a little caffeine with vodka. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
explaining away me drinking during the afternoon, but
Yeah.
there it is. It's
You got to pair
still
the
it
upper with the downer. I get it. I totally get it.
it's
I'm
still 20
definitely the
minutes
old
before five
fashioned guy.
o'clock.
That's fair. I keep forgetting. We were just talking about this a little bit ago. I keep forgetting like you're 3 hours behind me. So I'm here at
Right, you're doing
7:45,
fine over there at
whatever it is.
7:39. You
I
and the rest of the
know.
East Coast are drinking up. It's fine.
Yeah.
Socially
Therapy
acceptable.
Thursday. Socially acceptable.
Exactly.
And all right. Well, so we're going to dive in here with a quick little rapid fire question answer game. The
Sure.
goal is to provide as quick of a response as you can. And but if there's something you really want to talk about, feel free to take the mic and go with it. Ready?
Okay. Hold
All
on.
right.
I
Take that
just dinged
sip.
my
Yeah.
teeth.
It's like when the
The mic
waiter
picked
comes
that up
over and
probably
you're
pretty
mid
good.
bite. Is everything okay? Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was good.
Yeah. It's terrible.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
First and foremost, what's your go-to or favorite casino rewards program?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I'll say the Caesar's Total Rewards. They've changed the name over the years, but Caesar's Entertainment. I found it's kind of the benefits, and it's easy to get up to diamond pretty quickly. I'm not sure if they still
Mm.
have the same, like if you gamble and get 5,000 tier credits in one day, they'll match it and give you another five. And so
Mm.
sometimes if you just go for a couple days out of the year, you can be diamond. That gets you the benefits, a $100 free meal, usually a free trip to Atlantis in the Bahamas,
Mhm.
and a couple other things that some of them I've never followed through with, but they start sending you good offers of free flights to, well, Laughlin or something like that. I've never actually
Yeah.
been, but maybe one of these days I'll take that flight offer, and they'll sit you down, put you in a room, give you a little free play, free resort credit. Some of the other ones I haven't given them many attempts or tries of being a higher tier level. Some of it's just out of convenience, I suppose.
Mm.
But it's that or something that's actually, it is actually has a casino, but it's not a land-based casino. It's Royal Caribbean's Casino Royale, which I really enjoy. They've got some great benefits. And if you're just a casual gambler, you can meet the first threshold, which, in my opinion, has the best level free alcohol for the whole cruise in the casino, meaning you don't have to be playing. You just walk up to the bar, you tell them, give me my booze. I usually tip, even if it's for free. And then you get a free drink. You don't have to be, you can go back up to your room with the drink. They don't even care. Like, so it's like just an open bar anytime the casino's open. Okay, alcohol is pretty heavy on my perks here, but it is nice, especially you can use that money you would have spent on, whether it's land based or on a cruise, you can use that towards more gambling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd rather put 20 bucks in a machine than 20 bucks towards my cocktail. 100%.
Right, right. And so
100%.
that's exactly what I'm up to. It's not that tricky or sneaky, but if you can take advantage of certain programs, you're already gambling. And I work with Royal Caribbean International to be able to film on their ships. So they
Mm.
already know I'm coming. I might as well get a free drink out of it.
100%. Absolutely. What is your favorite holiday or tradition with the holidays
Ooh,
coming up?
holiday.
Hmm.
It's not Christmas and it's probably Thanksgiving, which tends to be more heavy on the eating side.
Hmm.
A little bit of obviously drinking, but food. It's a heavy food one, and I love turkey. I love ham. I love mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes with like marshmallows melted on them. I mean, I could go on delicious foods forever. But I would say Thanksgiving. That's definitely on my top list. Sure, family, friends,
Yeah.
whatever. Food, prioritizing.
I appreciate the food of Thanksgiving, but I don't get it as a holiday.
Oh, it doesn't
We're
make any
different.
sense as a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's we're eating a bunch of food, and the Native Americans that we kicked out of the land didn't get that food, or we killed them right afterwards. I don't know. That's what history seems to say. So it's a little touchy, but if you water it down and you don't think about those, but on the blinders,
Mm.
it's a great day for food and
We,
family.
we love food.
As long
Food and
as,
family.
as long as they're Americans, because obviously the Native Americans we didn't in the past we didn't do so well with. So I feel like
Mm.
it's a little bit conflicting. But if you just think about the food, the delicious food, it's okay.
That's how they get you. Is the food.
I know.
What's your music taste? What do you listen to these days?
Music. Okay, so it just depends. I do listen to a lot of talk radio podcasts. I love Vital Vegas. He's got a good one that I
Mm.
think he's slacking on right now. I don't know if you've heard Scott before, but he's got a good podcast when he puts it out
Yeah.
once a month, once every 6 months, whatever he feels like. And so music wise, I mean, I like it's a channel we talked about Sirius XM, a channel on Sirius XM. It's called Chill. It's like a really laid back, like almost EDM, but just like something you can
Mm.
drive to. Doesn't usually have too many lyrics, and it's just like a nice beat that's subtle, and I can drive from my house to the casino and kind of relax before I imagine either winning a big win or losing all the money that I brought. So that kind of music gets me calm and centered.
Totally fair. The less lyricism, the better. Sometimes, right? You get your own thoughts.
Especially, yeah, I know I'm about to get overly sensitized by dinging and bells and this and that. I want something kind of on the lower end, not too crazy, or talk radio, something like that.
You think casinos are stimulating, or you talk
If
about
they're not
food?
stimulating, I don't know where that dopamine's coming from, but it's coming from somewhere. There's a reason.
There's a reason.
I'm about to
You
be a
talked about
millionaire. Come on.
Oh, that's the goal, right? That's the
One
absolute
spin
ultimate
away.
goal. Yeah.
1, 2,000 spins, whatever.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one. The
Just
Rhode
one
Island
away.
lottery campaign back in the day was, where else can you buy a dream for $1? And I thought that was real smart. That was
Yeah,
real
and the New
smart.
York one was also, you can't win if you don't play or something. And I was like,
Yeah.
genius. You got
Yeah.
me. Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Why I'm
You
not
got
playing? I
me.
can't win. I gotta win.
If only I
But
played. Yeah.
I don't want the bad luck of the big lotteries though. All those people end up broke and have their own like story, or at least a majority do, which is too bad. That surprise, surprise, money isn't everything. So something to keep in mind for the gamblers out there. Yeah, you'll win the $1 million Dragon Link, but what are you going to do with the money? Now you've peaked. You can't really win anything bigger than that, except for maybe the Mega Millions. Well, good luck with that. A wide area progressive. They're not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, you're gonna spend that $1 million Dragon Link win on the Mega Millions tickets.
I heard a
The
rumor that's possible.
That is possible for sure. I feel like
Hmm.
there's a show about that or a movie. You talked
It's
about.
probably called Every Gambler Ever.
I'm just reliving my own movie.
Yeah, well,
You talked
we
about
could make it.
food with Thanksgiving, and obviously we enjoy an alcoholic beverage. After a night of a couple cocktails, what's your go-to either late night fast food run or snack?
It's probably something DoorDashed because I'm entirely too lazy to go out. And if I've been drinking, I'm going to take an Uber to get food. It doesn't make any sense. So, drinking and staying home safe saves me 13 grand on a DUI. Not that I'm going to get one because I don't want to drink and drive, but I will have DoorDash deliver. There's a local pizza place around here that makes I've got a allergy sensitivity to wheat, so it's technically gluten free. They make a gluten free pizza that doesn't suck. Most of them suck quite a bit and taste horrible, but this has like a nice. It's a thin crust. It's crispy. The toppings are good. It's cooked well, and they're right down the block, so I can have like a nice gluten free pizza sent to me, 15 minutes or less, arriving at my front door. So I'll probably, I'd say, God, the calorie intake once a week, order that. And there's a lot of late nights where I'm editing and I don't, I could use that 20 minutes to make my own meal, or I could just order it and then pay a little extra, of course. And you got to tip these people, please. They know where you live. Tip these people. So I make sure to tip, and then they drop off the pizza. That's great. And I've saved 20 minutes. Now I can edit for 20 more minutes. So my productivity goes up, my wallet balance goes down just a hair. But I find the exchange is worth it at least once in a while. During COVID times, obviously, you could do that every day, and that's all you knew. But a little pricey.
Yeah, for sure. I my delivery bill during that first 3 or 4 months of the pandemic were
Oh,
a little
total
bit
wine! I got to
aggressive.
the highest. Like I felt like it was at a casino, the highest rank, like total degenerate alcoholic level, where they're like, "Look, we're gonna send you some shirts and a basket and some this
Yeah,
and that." I'm like, "Look, just send me more alcohol. We need it."
yeah. That sounds like that beats the Royal Caribbean perks right there. You
Yeah.
get
Well,
the
to be
highest
fair,
level for total wine.
Royal Caribbean was not sailing at the time, I believe. So I had no choice. Actually, I had a
Yes.
cruise booked. I was supposed to go out
Mm.
and film and whatever, and obviously it all got canceled. Delayed, I should say. Delayed 2 years later.
Quite the delay. Quite the delay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take things back a second. Let's go back
Sure.
to the beginning. I think some folks know your origin story, your villain origin story in the casino world. But give us the Reader's Digest version. But I really want to know. I asked you before the call if 88 in your name was related to your birth year, and you said no. So I'm on the edge of my
Mm.
seat here, waiting for this response.
Okay. I hope it's not a
I
disappointment
don't care if
because
it's good or bad. I just
yeah,
want to
okay.
know.
You'll get the answer either way right now. So
Yeah.
when I started the channel, I thought, oh, the good life. That's what I want to live. Meaning, you go to the casino and you gamble. You stay in a suite that's free. Yeah, the food's free. All you have to do is lose. But in my case, hopefully, every time I would win. That's obviously not a reality. But that's the mindset of where I started the channel. Of like, okay, I'll film my slot play. I'll film my suite tours, and I'll film like the restaurants or wherever I'm eating. That'll be fun. And somehow, Good Life was taken. Big surprise, right? The Good Life and Good Life. And I was like, well, okay. I kind of like the Good Life though. I'm stuck with it. I think I had already paid my Fiverr guy to make the graphics. I wasn't going back on that $5. I needed to stick with the Good Life. I'm like, okay, well, what's a good number? Eight's not my favorite number. Neither is 88. It is more now because it can be lucky, I guess. But in the Chinese culture, eight is a lucky number. And I thought, okay, well, the Good Life eight doesn't sound right. Something needs to happen with that. And I was like, well, what's better than eight? Another eight. The Good Life 88. Why does that sound better? I don't know. It does.
It
And Good Life
does.
888, that's too much. So
Hmm.
here I am, being a first time social media person, being like, what sounds better? I don't know. Ask a couple people. They say, 88 sounds better. It just flows off the tongue. And I'm like, okay, double luck, Good Life. Maybe I'll get, some international viewers. Who knows? I had big dreams. And I kind of stuck with that. And yeah, many people think I was born in 1988. And I mean, I wasn't, but that's okay. The 80s were a good time.
The 80s were a good time for the year that I was there.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
Somebody will get that reference.
I'm getting Bart Simpson, but that was.
It's either that or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which was a
Oh
little less, but
yeah,
yeah,
duh. Oh
it's
my
okay.
gosh. Yeah.
Bart, I think, also says, well, he's more of a don't have a cow, but whatever. Potato, potato. Close enough, Sean. Close enough.
No, he for sure said cowabunga a few times. But yes, duh. I grew up with the Ninja Turtles.
I
I've
mean,
let
it was
down
a good
my
time.
millennial friends. This is not good. So I did not know, I did not realize, and I feel ignorant that eight is a sign of good luck or a number of good luck in different communities. I didn't realize that,
Yeah.
and now it makes
Don't be
sense
too
to me that a
ignorant,
lot
Sean. You gotta.
of
I'm
I
just
know
kidding.
I'm learning. I am recognizing that I had a blind spot here, and I'm learning, and we're growing,
Okay,
and we're talking
good. There
through
you
it.
go.
You're
That's the
calling
only
me
way
in
you
right
can
now. I
go.
appreciate it. Yeah, but I
I'm
didn't
very
realize
helpful. I'm very
the
helpful
and
sometimes.
you're very humble apparently now too. I'm very helpful.
No, now
Uh,
that you said it, one compliment, it's gone to my head. I'm sorry.
yeah, the ego, it's suffocating. The 88 on the slot machines. There's so many eights
Yes,
as a
that
theme,
was a
and also
coincidence. I
as a progressive.
didn't even know. But yes,
Mhm.
the maxed out Dragon Link I've chased many times. That grand for 18,888, or the maxed out Dragon Cash progressive, 88,888, 88. I just one day I'll get it, maybe, maybe.
You just gotta keep trying. You can't win if you don't play.
You can't, and I have a goal, and it's to win it at all costs, including losing money, which, at least for the entertainment of my viewers, is actually a pretty good deal. They don't pay any money, and they get to see me struggle until I hit it big. And hopefully, that's me like getting the future ready. It'll happen. It'll happen.
Manifestation happening in real
A
time right
little
now.
bit. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too deep, but yes,
Yeah.
it's happening. And with after this interview, it's all going to turn around for me. I'm going to go from just some big wins to I'll just do a maxed out bet, 5 coins, 199 games on Buffalo, the maximum hand pay over 5,000x, and then I'll thank you and not give you a taste. You won't get anything, Sean.
It's fine. Just send me whatever apparel you get from Total Wine. Um,
Have some extra shirts and definitely a wine bag. They love those.
I'll take it. I love a good freebie.
Total Wine wants to sponsor
You,
my channel. Just I know if you maybe you're watching. I
yeah.
will do a lot for you, and by that I mean drink. Brought to you by
AKA
Total
the bare
Wine.
minimum.
Look, I didn't want to. Also, I didn't want to say that either. I think we're giving ourselves away here, but yes, give me booze. I will say things that are nice about you.
Booze for woos, right there. That's a channel.
All right.
TM, don't take it. Your channel, aside from the name and trying
Yeah.
to figure out if 88 was better than 8. And I'm surprised 888 doesn't sound good, but 888 sounds okay. But 88 is better. What
Thank
other
you.
challenges have you run into as a creator? What are some of the obstacles that have, you know, that you've had to overcome?
Well, I guess biggest one, at least when I started, was finding a property to film. I could obviously sneak film and hold your phone like this, and just, oh, you
It's
saw
a
my phone
buffalo.
screen.
Your
It's a
screen is a
buffalo.
buffalo.
I was meaning to show it this way. Anyway, don't judge me. I love
That
cougars.
was intentional. I appreciate it.
Uh, so I used to sneak record and hold my phone like this. And, most people,
Mm.
if you just kind of cower over and hold it steady enough, but like to hold it like this is so much harder. And to get it steady, the whole thing is just a logistical nightmare. So my thought was, okay, let's find a property that at least allows it.
Mhm.
Couldn't find one. My local Cache Creek casino still doesn't allow filming. I would love them to. It's a great property. I used to go there all the time. Nah, they're not interested. So I went to another one, and then my local Grayton casino. They started to open up a little bit, and they're like, "Well, we're thinking about it." So they made me wait, but I got a wait list. And then actually, the first people was Hard Rock, which is another local in Sacramento. They were the first one to let me have permission. And so I went up there and did a big celebration live stream and gambled
Mm.
a bunch and got some videos and was able to use my tripod for the basically one of the first times aside from going to like Southern California. So that was a challenge that I it wasn't quick that I accomplished, but it was one of the biggest things in my way to feeling like giving my audience some sort of stability, not just in, obviously my gambling, but more in the actual physical camera screen itself. I'd watch a lot of videos and people are all over the place. I keep hitting my
Mm.
mic. People are all over the place and it's making me nauseous. And I just can't watch a screen that's moving that much. So that goal is still a challenge sometimes. Depending on the property I'm going to, you want to get the ability to set up a little tripod, even a monopod, something to stabilize it, get your camera, and be able to have like an extra mic attachment or your DJI set up, and all of that takes space. And it's if you don't have permission, you're going to get caught 10 times faster because it just looks like you're setting up for something, and they're suspicious until you give them your slip that says I have permission, and then they don't care. So I'd say that was my biggest challenge. I could probably go deeper in other challenges, but that was the biggest one that I found to be an obstacle. And I talked to a lot of smaller channels that expressed that same issue. And fortunately, I've been in a position where I can recommend certain channels that I've either met personally or talked with.
Mm.
That some of them are under 1,000 subscribers, but I've gotten them permission at certain properties because not only have I met them, they seem to like what they're doing, and I can see the potential of like, oh, wouldn't that be great if they grew? Like, if they grow, it still benefits me. Like, I'm not competing directly with them, and even if I was, not everybody thinks that there's enough room on the platform, but I feel like there is. At least there's a lot of room on the higher end of the platform on YouTube and obviously Facebook and others. Like, so hopefully helping others also achieve that first big hurdle comes back in some sort of good karma with me. I don't know. But I do it
Mhm.
because I was once in that position and I had help from a couple channels. One of them being NJ Slot Guy. The other guy would be Brian Christopher. Some of them gave me advice of how to approach marketing, what to say, what to ask,
Mm.
things that I didn't know because I've never done it. And that helped me get into a position where they would kind of listen to me and actually try to be like, oh, this guy's got something going on. All right, let's see what we can do. He doesn't want any money. He just wants to come and film, and we'll give him rules, blur out all the other people in his video. Great, we love that. Okay, let's do it. That was a long answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good one because it leads me to the next question or yeah follow up that I had for you was you talked a little
Sure.
bit about mentorship with Brian Christopher and John from NJ. What is it about those two people that made you feel welcome to reach out to them and get that feedback to grow your channel?
Ooh, well, I guess the first person was actually Brian Christopher. Excuse me. This was almost 4 years ago. I had just put out I hit the grand on Lock It Link Nightlife, and it was over 13, 14. I think it was 13,000 on a $5 bet, which is for me amazing. And
That's
I wasn't
huge. Yeah.
right. I mean, like, it's still my biggest win to this day, which is sort of annoying because I feel like I should have won something 100,000 level, but I have not. So I keep trying. But yeah, so I got some sort of flag on it from YouTube that said, "Oh, you can't post this. That's whatever. You're trying to lure people into fake scams or whatever. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. So after trying to get it appealed and then instantly getting rejected, I was like, well, who would know more about getting picked on by random trolls or whoever than Brian? He's been around for a while. Not everybody likes him. Some people like, but there's plenty of people that don't. Okay, maybe they would go up and mess with him. And sure enough, he said, yeah, I get like a couple videos every month that just they get flagged, and I try to fight it. And he at this time was still over 100,000 subscribers. So you get the YouTube people to help you supposedly, and he's like, they can't really help you with that. Like, I've asked, like, they just tell you to go through the process, and sometimes that video will just never be published because somebody claims like either they're in it or that you were doing something fraudulent, and the AI or whatever scanning it agrees with the person who posted it, and they just go, oh, you're out of luck. And if you repost it, they already know what you've posted, and then you'll just get a second flag or I mean,
Right.
it can get pretty scary pretty quick. So he's like, yeah, just leave it or private it or delete it, whatever. Like, just try again. Luckily, that particular video, I back in the day, Twitter used to have a Twitter handle where you could go there and tag them and tell them your exact link, and they would have a human being go and look at it, and then somehow find a way in their system to push it through and realize somebody's trying to mess with this guy or person. Like, let's review this one more time with a human, and then they did, and they were like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine. And it had, at the time, my most amount of views ever, 50,000 views in like a couple weeks. And I was just ecstatic. I
Nice.
was like, oh my gosh, I am now successful.
Yeah. This is
50,000
it.
views. That's like a whole ballpark of people who just
Yeah.
watched me
Yeah.
win, 13,000 plus dollars. This is amazing. And so, yeah, when they restored it, I felt like I had a chance. But unfortunately, that slump that it took a week or two to restore it, it lost all of its momentum. And it still gets some views nowadays because it's such a big deal, and I put it kind of in the view of my viewers on the end screen sometimes, just to give it a little love, try to get it up,
Hmm.
a couple more views every day. I'm like, yeah, there we go. It's a
Yeah.
cool video, and I won a maxed out major on Dragon Link as well, and I just tossed it in the video. It's like 20 minutes. I'm like, this is great. One of my best runs on Dragon Link up until 2 months ago. Fun times. Gambling.
Fun
There's so
times.
much action going on, and
Yeah.
it can be quite a lot of fun.
We'll do you do you a solid. I can't freaking talk, man. And throw the link in this video description so folks can go watch it and show it some love too, or flag it as a
Come on, Sean, killing me.
whatever.
Just asking,
It's
asking. All right,
no,
fine. Do
I
what you
know.
want, trolls.
No.
I'll try
Trolls.
to fight it, and if I can't, it is what it is.
No,
I love
no,
you, trolls.
no one's gonna. It's all
If
love
anything,
here on the Gambling
I,
Icons
I
podcast.
I foresee a buffalo troll out there, and it's literally just a buffalo who's, I took all your money. I'm sorry, buffalo. Don't be mad.
I love that you pivoted to like one game, one theme. Mostly, you mentioned in the opening
Mostly,
that you
yeah.
have some other channels, some other games that you play. What was that decision for you? Like, was it that it's your favorite game? Like, what was the pivot that made sense for you to be like, this is it? I'm just doing Buffalo content.
That's a good question, and something I actually recall because it was a moment that I had to self-reflect. I was kind of getting in a bit of not a rut, but I was just watching my chart every day. I would post another video, and I would think it would be the coolest thing, and I didn't realize that my audience just happened to already be built-in Buffalo audience, and I had posted Buffalo videos before and didn't really connect the fact that, wow, those all got a lot of views. For me, the views let me know that they wanted to see it because they clicked on it, and that happens to be a subject that they like. So it was October, a year and 10 days ago, so 375 days ago. My chart had gotten down, like, for the day, and I'm posting videos every day, sometimes more than one. It had gotten down to like 1,500 views or 1,000 views in the whole day, and for me, that was, it had peaked earlier a little bit. It had, I was getting like 3, 4, 5,000 a day. I was like, yeah, this is good. I went back down, and I thought, what can I do to get more of my audience like interested and get them back to watching my videos, because obviously if you don't watch them enough, it's going to forget about you and put somebody else in your place. I'm like, okay, well, let's look. Most popular videos. Okay, we've got the dragon link and we've got the locket link. That one. Okay, big one's there. And then it was a bunch of like Buffalo stuff where I didn't even realize like they just happened to do so well. I was like, all right, you know what? I already love Buffalo. Like I could play this probably nonstop every day with a little break in between for just something different. And that's what I started to do. I told myself, all right, at least one Buffalo video every other day. I started that way because I had a big library of stuff I had already recorded. So it started
Mhm.
October, and I posted the next day my first Buffalo video. I don't actually recall what it was, but it was good enough where, boom, the chart just started to go back up, and I was like, and it's going up and down, but it's definitely an upward trend. And I thought, okay, people want Buffalo. They're responding well to Buffalo. What else can I do? And obviously, more Buffalo videos. And I got really, really lucky that same time or a little before. I had done a live stream in there's a secret high limit room at my local Great and Resort and Casino. That in the back, it's like a little post COVID. It was a conference room, but they stopped using them. So they're like, let's put some more slot machines in here. Why not? And they put two high limit 5 cent buffaloes where max bet is $18, minimum bet is 3. So affordable. I go in there, do the live stream, probably put like 200 or 300 bucks in. And like an hour later, I've hit like over $10,000 worth of Buffalo bonuses, mostly all on $18 max bets, where I just got
Mm.
lucky. I hit it, and this was from a live stream. So I reposted that video. That got a lot of traction, and probably one of my top 10 videos still. And I knew for sure, I was like, okay, this is what they want. This is what I
Mm.
want. It's meant to be. And my eyes were just a little bit cloudy, and they sort of cleared up, and I was like, okay, Buffalo. It's obvious. And
Yeah.
all the characters, I had already started to work with, like I had a graphic designer make a sort of almost cougar here. Let's see how high. Yeah, almost cougars that I could use on all of my products that are either for sale or just the animations I use in my videos, to have something that's high definition that I could sort of for fun, sort of like the like South Park, that kind of
Mhm.
animation where you just put something in, it gets the point, and then you get it out and get back to gambling. So it's been quite the pivot.
Listen, pivots happen when you need them to happen, right? And so, what I appreciate though is every video doesn't feel like the same video. I don't know if it's your editing
Thank you.
style or the excitement of the game. Like it doesn't feel like I'm just watching 6 hour live stream of one Buffalo game. You know, if everything feels
Oh,
like it
did you
has its
watch
own
that one?
identity.
I did a
I
6 hour live
skimmed it.
stream.
I
I
skimmed
couldn't
it.
believe. Oh yeah, yeah, 6 hours. That was one of my first successful live streams too. I was excited, and I think it was a challenge of some sort. I forget, but yeah, I put in I think 100, maybe two at the max, and for 6 hours I just played up and down on the bets and just kept getting lucky. It was
Mm,
it was a sight to see, and I've tried to recreate it several times.
yeah.
Not not so
One
lucky.
of my most successful live streams is also on a Buffalo game, but Buffalo is not a game that I love. It's one of those games that I
Blasphemy.
go back to try to conquer.
Oh, okay.
I've gotten 15 Buffalo heads one time. It was on a like minimum bet situation, and it was a couple hundred
60
bucks. I got
cents.
it, and I
Okay.
said, "Drop the mic. I'm leaving this game." Uh,
Yeah, it's
for
probably not going to
me,
happen for a while.
oh, for sure. I mean, I was on the machine for 4 hours, and then I finally
Oh,
got
wow.
it. So it was a very long live stream. I think Power Couple Slots came and joined at the end. That was fun.
Oh, fun.
But
Was this recently?
this was maybe February or March. So
Oh,
this
okay.
year. Yeah, definitely this year.
I
It
think
was
I
after
may have,
Slaughter Town. So.
yeah, I may have popped in on that. I don't recall, but usually when
Hmm.
people are playing Buffalo, it grabs my eye, especially
It
with
works for the
Melly and
brand.
David. They're a great
Yes.
couple.
Yeah, they're awesome. We mentioned Slots Fiesta before the call too. That we're both
Yes,
trying to get out there. I think Power Couple
coming up
and
in
maybe
March.
Married to Slots You say coming up, and you're right. I mean, 6 months is gonna fly by. In my head,
Oh
I
yeah.
had a knee-jerk reaction when you said it's coming up. I'm like, what? No, I'm like, I guess so. You know?
End of March, to be fair. So there's some time.
Yeah.
But if you're anything like me, all of those months have these little squares and what I think we call them a calendar. That's what I've been told it's called.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the thing that takes all my time and scheduling. And you go, oh, yeah, I got that. Okay, I got 2 days off here. Oh, busy, busy, busy,
Mm,
busy, busy. Oh, okay. And by the time you know it, here we are in March, and you're like, oh,
yep.
did I buy flights? Let me check my email. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Usually when I'm like, okay, I'm confirmed, I'm committed, that's when I book the flights. Or I'll
Hmm.
start tracking flights on Google Flights and be like, okay, now. But yeah, I think it's March 28th to 30th. I think it's
I
at
think you're
Resorts
right.
World. I'm
I
like
believe so.
90% committed. So maybe we'll see each other out there and we'll do a collab. We're gonna mark it right now. We're gonna
Good.
do a collab.
That's fine by me.
Um,
You know how few
the
people actually ask me to collab with them? It's surprising.
Really?
I'm open to it. Most people don't ask. It's fine. Saves me time.
Well, I didn't. To
But I
be fair,
would
I didn't
like
ask. You
to. I
just
mean,
told.
like, no, no, I'm
Just told
happy
me.
to. Yeah, no, you're locked in as long as you show up. Now you have to show up for that. I can't
Yeah.
just collab alone and tag you. It's me and Shawn if he was here. We're gonna have a great time if he was here.
I
I'll do
have
the whole thing without you.
yeah, I have a Melissa McCarthy cutout. It's a long story. She's over in the corner, and maybe towards the end of the call, I'll bring her on camera so you can say hi. But maybe I'll attach
All
my
right.
face to her and put her in the mail like a flat Stanley, and then you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
just
okay.
gamble with Shawn McCarthy.
Look,
But
I mean, I'm not saying I don't want you to show up, but now that seems kind of fun. It's good content. Good content.
why not both? Always order both. So one of the things we talked about mentorship and Brian Christopher and Jay, like who do you look up to in this space? Like who are you watching?
You know, I watch a lot of people who are also doing similar content. So Buffalo
Mm,
stuff. Obviously, there's Chico. He does a lot of them. There's a lot of smaller ones that are popping up that probably figured similar to me. Like, oh, Buffalo is kind of a popular video. Like you could post a lot of
mhm.
it, and at the very least, get 1,000, maybe 2,000 views for something that's just not. You don't have to be winning. Just people want to see more Buffalo. There's just not enough
Yeah.
content. So him, I look at some of the bigger channels, not necessarily for Buffalo reasons, but that maybe I've met. So BC, the big Payback, Tim, the
Hmm.
big Jackpot. I do scan his channel once in a while, and of course saw that $1 million Dragon Link win. So I mean that's
Hmm.
impressive. Uh, People that actually may not necessarily have such a huge channel, but and that maybe I've never even met, like Big Slaughter. He goes live all the time, and I don't know. He's got some dedication, and he's got a following. You know, people want to sometimes day to day they want to see some slot action that's live, and he is going live all the time. Usually, I think from Reno, but Arizona, different places, Vegas. So I look up to them in some respect of like they've got the drive, and I feel like I'm similar. Like I have a similar drive, but it's nice to look around sometimes. Like you know, not that I like running, but if you're in a marathon race and you're looking and you're near the front like 50 people in the race, and you look around and you're like, kind of get used to who your competition is and also who you may want to collab with, work with, or just
Yeah.
sort of not copy, but take similar filming ideas
Learn
or
from.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I'm definitely not trying to copy people. So if I can, I try to avoid that because I don't want to make anybody else feel like their content is blatantly
Mm.
copied. But a lot of us are filming similar or duplicate machines by aristocrats. So at a certain point, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the people I looked up to, that's like a handful. There's a bunch of others. I mean, Mr. Handpay, that was awesome seeing him for Sloticon. Nice having little conversations with him here and there, and just kind of getting a gauge of what it's like for a giant slot channel. That's
Mm.
obviously he's a different category. He's doing these giant max bets, so a different
Yeah.
audience than mine.
Yeah.
But still he comes across similar problems where whether it be privacy issues, people calling him, you give out your phone number, now you got 50 people texting you like about whatever, like things where you wouldn't have to think about maybe him or other channels have had, where you can kind of learn from their experiences too, and how they deal with it, or people who, I won't say who, but somebody told me the other day, somebody got their phone number and kept sending them like Venmo requests for money and being like, "You're a
Oh,
big slot
damn.
channel, send me money." And like they were talking to me, they're like, "I feel so bad." And I'm like, "Don't feel bad. Most of these people just need, like, they want money. They don't need money. And even if they did, you don't know because it's the internet, and the internet is fallible, and you may not necessarily want to trust everything you read." So
Right.
it's a lot of these people are very, helpful, or I guess in some ways, like connections. Like I went to Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa. No, not Tampa. Sorry, Fort Lauderdale, the Guitar Hotel, and I didn't have a
Mm.
connection over there. And sure enough, Chris and Lou, I messaged them. We've been friendly over the years. I was like, "Look, I'm coming over. I need a connection. I need to be able to film. Otherwise, what's the point in staying there? I'll just go
Right.
film." Yeah, I was out there for a cruise, so I'll just film. I'll use that money to film more on the ship. But I would like to see this property and gamble there if I can. They sent over the info, got the connections going right away, got permission. So whether they're big or small channels, for me, it doesn't really matter. It's nice to have both relationships and then be able to, like, if somebody needs help, like I'm willing to do something that's helpful for them, whether it be
Mm.
trying to get permission to a property or give them information. Some people, some people ask silly questions that you could kind of Google. That's where I try to let them know, like, I can't be your resource for super basic stuff, you know.
Mm.
But but aside from that, most people kind of know better. Like they try to use my time as best as they can, whatever I have to give to them, whether it be 5 minutes or an hour. If I'm giving them that time, most people respect the fact that, don't ask me a question of like, how do I get more views? Why,
Right.
make my thumbnail better? Like that's stuff you can solve by yourself. But
Right.
other things that I was discussing, or just interactions, or how to deal with marketing at the casinos, all of that kind of stuff can be
Hmm.
really helpful to pass along to other people that just haven't had the experience. And then now they know how to deal with them. And the casino's usually happier because they'll approach them in the right way,
Hmm.
rather than, like, say, bashing them on social media to get their attention so that they'll, of course, want to come and give you permission. It's like, that
Yeah.
can work. I've seen it work, and it actually worked for me one time. But most other times, it fails. They just blacklist you or just ignore you,
Mm.
and then now you can't go there anymore.
I yeah. No, I was gonna add to it, but I think you hit on the head there. I think the social media interactions with fans, with just random followers, like can be
Hmm.
a lot. And I'm happy to respond to comments and DMs, but like keep it professional, keep it high level. Like don't ask me to edit your thumbnail, to your point, or ask me for feedback on how to make it better. I can't be your graphic designer. Like that's just something you have to learn over time, and you'll see what hits and what tracks based on who's watching it and your numbers and
Right.
everything. And you just got to find your own rhythm, because what works for me and my audience isn't going to work for you and your channel. So
Totally.
I think people just need to realize that sometimes is just take a minute and figure out like what is the most important question that you can ask me before you just fire away. So
And I've been guilty of that too. I've fired away at plenty of creators when I was earlier in it, and that's part of how I learned too. Is they were kind enough to gently say, like, just so you
hmm
know, this is probably pretty like not too important to talk to me, but
hmm
the questions you're going to ask, like, you only get a couple. We don't see each other very often or ever. This is our first time.
yeah.
Make them good. Make them good. Make them things that you
Mhm.
can't find on Google. I bet there's a couple I could answer for you, and,
Right.
and quick too. And I can
Right.
give you an answer that's probably pretty solid, that can be based on experience rather than like, well, I don't know.
hmm
So yeah, like you said, depending on the channel, it could be, their audience could be totally different, and my advice could be worthless.
Correct. Correct. But here's a tip for everybody watching: just get a Canva professional account, Canva Pro. You don't have to be, a Photoshop extraordinaire. You can do some really great things on Canva. You can even Publisher too. Just in PowerPoint. There's so many great things. Just like find the tools that work for you. Uh, but Canva Pro. I don't
Yeah,
get
I
any
mean,
funding
I
money back
started
there,
with
but
Paint. That's my first thumbnail. I used Paint, Microsoft Paint.
wow.
It's a horrible,
Wow,
horrible
what year
idea.
was this? Yeah.
I the sad part is it was 2020. It's just all I
Okay.
had. Like I used to have just like a PC with that, and like I didn't know what I was doing, and the
Mm,
learning curve for me was heavy. I had never used Photoshop, kind of against it actually. I was like, I don't need that. They're going to watch my videos because they're the greatest videos in the world because I made them. I was
mm-hmm.
wrong. They are probably going to start by watching your videos because your thumbnail and your title were good enough, good
Good
enough, and
enough.
you got enough impressions that it
Yeah.
just got forced down somebody's throat, and they're like, "Fine, I'll click on this." And
Right.
then they realized this was obviously the best video in the
Mm.
world, but only a couple hundred people. It's not a lot.
Unfortunately, people
Yeah,
do judge books by covers, right? So you gotta make
that's
something that looks fancy or pop out because they're gonna just
it's
keep
a tough
scrolling.
lesson to learn. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
want to learn it, but it's the
Hmm.
reality, and once you get that in your mind, that that's what your goal is to just get their attention. Just and it obviously borderline. You don't want to be too clickbaity, which is something I don't think we've touched on. But
Hmm.
I've had some comments on certain thumbnails of mine, which of course will show, say, in Buffalo, you can't get more than 5 coins for a bonus. Well, if I got, say, a back to back 4 coin bonus, but I put 4 coins and then another four, that's 8 coins. That's interesting. People will
Mm,
think that, but then sometimes I'll get the negative reaction of, oh, clickbait, you can't get 8 coins. I'm like, well, here's the thing. I'm layering the levels of excitement here. If
correct.
you've ever played this game before, you already
Yeah.
know that's not possible to get eight
Uh-huh.
coins. So what are we
Uh-huh.
jerking each other around here for? Come on,
Hmm.
clickbait. And then there's some that I've seen where that are not my channel where they're just you can add in all buffalo black, a blackout screen of buffalo, which I think I have
Yeah.
one. That's probably my biggest video because it's the most I've won. But the
Mm,
reality is it's like it's not necessarily reflective of what's in the video. You have to use some of your ability to filter that out, and if that bothers you, you'll click less, and that's fine. I'll sacrifice that for the majority of people being pleased. And most important to me, I don't want to trick you and make you think, oh, this is what it's going to be. I want you to see it, get excited, and then whatever I've shown you, then try to give you like one more thing that's awesome that I didn't even talk about. Like if it's a five
mm.
coin trigger later somewhere on, okay, how about a maxed out bet where I get triple sunsets? I didn't even mention it. But now here it is because you watch through the video, you get rewarded with a little something in there that I didn't even brag about, where it's like, oh, look at that. Times three times three times three, that's going to add up even without a buffalo.
Mm. Those are just some magic wins when that lines up. Those just
Beautiful. I
it's a
know.
good moment. That's when
I had a
Buffalo
hot
hits.
streak. I had a hot streak of triple sunsets like this past year where
Mm.
I had so many, probably like a couple dozen, maybe three. And it just every video for like a week, I was like triple sunsets, and I couldn't. When I stopped posting those, I saw a dramatic shift in views, and I was like, well, I mean, it is kind of like it's everything. You want triple
Yeah.
sunsets, even if there's no buffalo in there, big bet, small bet. It's still going to be 27 times if it's three times three times three. That's great.
Yeah. I had a video that was, I don't know if it was the title or if it was on the thumbnail, that got pretty decent views.
Hmm.
That was like, I think he said like a maxed out major, and this, one of the comments was, "You didn't win anything." It was a losing session. You're like, "You didn't win anything, liar!" And I was like, "I didn't say I won a maxed out major. I just said it said a
Yeah, it
maxed
was
out
there.
major."
Yeah. And a lot of people seem to get a little bit bitter over
Yeah,
that because now
yeah,
you've tricked them, and it's like, well, here's the thing. It's
hmm,
the English language is very tricky, and you
yeah,
can word certain things
yeah.
certain ways where it is true both ways, and it just depends on how you're perceiving these words and what they mean
Correct.
to you. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, look, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, but I will try to correct a little bit where, like, I've seen bigger channels like Lady Luck. She'll have somebody where I've seen the thumbnail and it was a little bit clickbaity, like something didn't happen, where it was just too much of a
Mm,
reach, and she actually took that, reviewed it, and then changed it slightly, where either the wording was a little bit less, or they moved one vowel over here, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, that's a little less clickbaity. And she thanked the person for calling them out and at least
mm,
giving her a time to review it and change if necessary.
totally fair. So I don't mind being called out. I really don't, because it makes me a better creator. It just makes me be more thoughtful in what I'm posting and how I am, communicating my content. So one of the
Yeah, I
things I
usually
wanted to
let
get.
those comments stay. I mean, unless they're hateful. I get some
Oh, for
hateful ones.
sure.
Obviously I block them, but
Yeah,
most people,
it
if
depends
they've
what
got
words are
something
being
critical,
used.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it just depends what you want to say. If you can keep it civil and, that's fine. You can say something that I don't agree with. That's called
Yeah.
a debate that's like normal and
Hmm.
socially like this is what you would look
Encouraged.
for. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to have conversations with differing opinions because that's how maybe I'll learn something that I didn't think about
Mm,
from a different position.
right.
At least that's how
Absolutely.
I try to live my life. Like I'm open to all sorts of options, unless it's something that I'm firmly against, which I have very little things that are like that. I'm usually like, okay, well, let's at least learn of the options. If I don't like it, at least I don't feel like I've just skipped over. I've reviewed it. I've made a decision. Now I don't have to think about it ever again. I've already made
Yeah.
this decision.
Yep, absolutely. It's like being a kid at the dinner table, right? It's like your parents are trying to make you eat
Yeah.
something that you've never had, and you're like, "Oh, I'll try it one time." Okay, I know I don't like it. Moving on.
Yeah.
Get that broccoli away from me.
I'm okay with
One of the things
broccoli
I wanted
nowadays.
to touch on, because I know we're almost out of time here, and we can keep going too if you're fine with that. But
You're never going
one
to
of the things I
stop.
want to touch on is that we both came back just a few days ago from G2E 2024 at the beautiful Venetian
Yes.
Las Vegas,
Woo.
and I wanted to hear some of your thoughts. I wanted to get the insight and how you're feeling about some of the new releases that are coming out, and if there's anything that was like really exciting for you.
So this was my second year coming to G2E, and the first year I went like all in. I was there Monday, where I found out I didn't
Mhm.
actually have to be,
Right,
because that's
right,
for like
yeah.
the non influencers. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I think Friday, which I definitely didn't need to be there Friday. It was like the scraps, and nobody was there. They were basically shutting down. So I went all the days the first year, and I felt like it was 3 or 4 days too much for me personally, for what I do. I just needed to
Wait,
get a
time out. I
little.
just realized that the folks that are watching this might not know what G2E is. Do you want to give a
That's
quick
good.
explanation of what that is?
Sure. Global G2E is the Global Gaming Expo. This is like an industry level of anybody who's dealing with something casino related, whether it be the slot machines, the cabinets, or just like the chairs and tables that you might find in a
Mm,
casino, down to the decor, the cards. You can buy the chips, everything casino related. If you own a casino, these people will show you the newest, hippest, whatever casino chips with a ID in it, that kind of new technology, and old technology that is just tried and true. They're there to either sell you or have a connection with their salespeople. But that is a majority of people. There's a minority of people like us who come because
mhm.
we're social media influencers. And they, of course, want to get the
Right.
word out about new machines, what each different bigger company, Aristocrat or Light and Wonder or Konami, any one of those platforms, they may have new machines that they kind of want to get the word out on. Maybe if we as influencers film them and show people that casinos may see that at one point or somebody, and they'll go, "Oh, we want to have that. We'll get that
Yep.
in our, yeah. We'll order two. We'll lease two, and we'll put them in our casino, and we'll give them a try." And some of these places just want to try with their new games, new software, whatever it may be. So you can have all of these people coming, funneling together in one giant place, the Venetian ballroom, no, convention center,
Ex-
not a ballroom.
Expo Hall and Convention Center. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gigantic. And so whether you're there for the slot machines or table games or just the technology, or the never-ending free coffee, they have quite a
Mhm.
bit. I had like a dozen people and I'm walking by the booth. Do you want some coffee? 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 And I'm like,
Copy.
is there Kahlua in it? I don't really, I personally don't drink coffee unless it's like in a
Mhm.
drink or something. But yeah, so that the whole thing is just a variety of people who are in the industry who have some
Mhm.
level of either gambling or casino. It's a big deal, and it's been going on for what, years and years and years. I don't
I
know the
actually don't
first
know
year.
how long it's been going on. This was my third schedule year to go. I didn't get to go last year, but I went 2 years ago.
Okay.
But one of the things that I learned I don't know if they are comfortable with me calling them out, but one of the gaming companies that was there shared with me that, oh, like it's great that you're going to share this with your audience, but really, like generally, folks that film casino content, gambling content, have hosts or direct access to player development or VIP services or casino marketing folks,
Right.
and really, we're there to help encourage those folks with the buying power who are making
Hmm.
financial decisions about the casino floor to buy those products. Like I am going to come to your casino and play these games or sit in that type of chair or to have this type of experience. I want to spend money. I want to spend money with you. Can you get these things? So
Hmm.
that was one of the goals, which it didn't even dawn on me. I'm like, oh, I'm here to make content. No, I'm here because you want me to be able to share my messaging with these other people that have power. So
Right.
it was a different lens for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely it's hard to figure out who wants what and what their
Hmm.
priorities are. So you have to
Hmm.
spend some time, go to the different booths. So I guess back to where I was getting, my first year, I overdid it. This year, I did kind of the opposite.
Hmm.
I upgraded myself to a giant suite in Caesar's Palace, one of the higher floors in the Augustus Tower. It's like 2,000 square feet, 180 degrees of strip. Like you could see the Mirage, you can see Flamingo, you can see Bellagio, and I actually got to see Tropicana from my window in my bedroom fall down.
Implode.
I could only yes, I saw the whole show, and I've got some footage of it I took just for
Wait, hold on, real quick.
yeah.
Tropicana, the implosion.
Yeah.
Did your hotel shake? Did you feel it?
I didn't feel a shaking. I heard a lot of loud noises, and there's like a window vent you can open to hear more. Where
Yeah.
were you?
I was at Nomad, which is the top five floors at Park MGM. I stay there because
Okay,
it's
yeah,
not
you were a lot
smoking and it's one
closer.
of my favorites. Uh,
Right.
I was watching the live stream because I went out and I was like, I can see the fireworks, I can see them, but I'm not going to see the building collapse. So I went up to my
Hmm.
room again, back to bed, watching the live stream. And sure enough, I'm watching the feed. I see it fall, and then like 3 seconds later, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is an earthquake! What's happening?"
Yeah, yeah.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
I'm kind of glad I
Anyway,
didn't feel the
back to you.
shaking, but it was very loud, and I was very happy I was not closer. Honestly, the dust particles don't look very friendly, and I'm very familiar with the fact that they had a bunch of asbestos in there, and I have
Ooh, yeah.
come on, that's going in the air for sure. So they were telling a lot of the hotels to clean their pools and things because the
Mm.
asbestos particles will probably go in. If you're choking on that, then now you're anyway. It's a buzzkill. But the fun part was, of course, things blowing up and a drone show,
Yes.
and a little bit of nostalgic feelings. Even though I've actually never stood foot in the Tropicana, of course, I mean, from Casino the movie to something more funny, which is Vegas Vacation, National Lampoons. They
Hmm.
they still had all of that in their shots, and now it's gone, and it's just like, oh, there was some history there, but from what most people told me, it was pretty beat up and needed to get refurbished or tore down. So, you know, it's fine. Like, just like any property, Vegas is a magical little place where there's a constant rotation of resorts and luxury. And I love that in some ways, but I'll also be sad if some more that I really, really love or have a history with go. Like if they were to tear down like Caesar's Palace and rebuild it, which I highly doubt. But if they were, I would feel a certain way about that and want to spend some time before they closed it. And then I would want to be there to watch it implode. Why? I don't know. It's just a feeling you
Closure.
get. You're like, I need to be, yeah, I need to be there. Like, I spent a lot of time there chasing my dream. And,
Mm.
there goes my dream. It's getting imploded. So that's probably how I would feel.
I was it was interesting because I saw online a lot about what was it, the Mirage that just closed? That's gonna be
Hmm.
the Hard Rock, and
Hmm.
all of those progressive jackpots that had to get paid out before it could close. I
Right.
didn't
That was a
hear
big
that
deal.
about Tropicana,
Yeah,
which
I'm
I
not
thought was
sure.
fascinating.
They probably figured out a way to have them all pay out before. I
Mm.
think because Mirage is not closing for good, that they, I don't know, they probably had some regulation about wide area progressives where they just had to pay them off. But I just heard it
Mm,
was kind of a shit show, and like everybody was in there sitting in the chairs. You didn't
yeah.
have to play to win, so you just had to have your card in, and so it was basically like kind of a situation of like a bunch of people perching and kind of
Mm,
waiting, and you could spend a couple days there waiting for money. And I guess if that's what you want to do with your time, like you might win.
yeah.
I can't say anything against it. I just don't. I didn't choose to fly to Vegas just so I could sit and hope I win whatever.
Mm,
But I saw lots of pictures of the winners, and they seemed happy, and good for them.
yeah. I mean, I hope so.
Somebody had to win.
The winners were really disappointed, you know?
Yeah, they didn't want to pay taxes, so maybe that was why.
Fair.
You're gonna have to give half back.
Oh my gosh. But going back to G2E real quick, were you
Yeah.
able to get to the expo hall at all this year?
Yes. So I went on Thursday, just for 2 or 3 hours, real briefly, and
Mm,
I was told to come at a certain time for I wanted to do Aristocrat and Light and Wonder just because those are probably the games I play most often, and I slept in because I was up late the night before gambling, trying to get more Buffalo content. So I was up until
hmm
like 4 or something, got to sleep at 5, and came to the booth. The first year, I did the same move where I slept in, came, and they were totally fine. They let me in. I said I love Buffalo. They saw my phone, and they clearly realized like this guy's he's got a problem. Let's let him in to see the new Buffalo stuff.
Yeah.
And this year they were a little bit different because of the lawsuits with Light and Wonder and Dragon Train, all that.
Mm,
I was not let in. I had an email saying like, "Let this guy in." I showed it to the people at the front. They said, "Oh, we'll just get your email address. We'll email you." And I'm like, "Well, first of all, it's one of the last days, and we're probably in the last hour. Why don't you just let me in? I could leave." I offered. I was like, "Here, this is the only phone I have. You can hold on to it. I just want to go in and look to see what the new Buffalo I can
yeah.
expect are."
Yeah.
That being said, overall, this year versus 2023, I felt was a little less excitement. Last
Hmm.
year was Huff and even more Puff.
Right.
And that was a big with Steve Aoki release. And then I don't know if Aristocrat had anything huge last year that they released. Oh, they were trying to push that NFL stuff, which
Right.
I was mildly amused by. It's not very Buffalo-y. So that's what they were pushing. This year, since I didn't get to go into the Aristocrat booth, I didn't get to see anything, and I'll eventually
Mm,
see it. But it was a little disappointing. I did it to myself. I didn't follow their rules, so it's me to blame.
fair.
But it's also like realistically, the reason they didn't want me in there is because they're worried, and I get it.
Mm,
But I mean, I get millions and millions of people watching me play Buffalo. I feel
right.
like feel like that should do something. Like look at my channel and realize like I'm just every day I'm posting videos about the game that you made.
Hmm
Let's just let Dan in, just one guy. But anyway, it didn't happen. So I got to look through from the other side, and I generally scoped out the machines, and I didn't feel like it was necessarily full of excitement. And of
Mm,
course, I wasn't there at the appropriate time, so it could have been. I saw one of my friends, Crow Slots. They have
yeah.
gone around, and they're very big on Instagram, so they're constantly getting a bunch of content. The content they're getting is great for them, but if I were to post all that similar content of like behind the scenes and this and that,
Mm,
my audience doesn't necessarily care. I've noticed. I've posted a couple here and there, and
mm,
even taken a poll on my community posts like, do you want to see demo mode? Do you want to see just real? And majority were like, we don't want to see demo mode. Like it's got to be a very rare circumstance, which for me
yeah.
was like a Whitney Houston slot. You can program it to give you the grand or the biggest jackpot, so it's a
Yeah.
$500,000 one. So I got that and posted it on TikTok and got 100,000 views or something. I was like, oh look at that. Okay, maybe it was 25,000. I had a Buffalo one that did good recently too, but certain things will be good for certain audiences. For my YouTube audience, they know what they want already. They want Buffalo, a nice session, put in, as much or as little money as possible, but get some action going. So
Hmm
I think next year I'm contemplating if I'm going to go at all. It might be an every other year type of thing where I could use that time in Vegas better for getting content for my audience. Or, I mean, some of the things I had a couple meetings with people that was good. Just kind of discussing with different companies, maybe sponsorships.
Right.
I've got my ear out, like, hey, okay, what could make this journey for me a little easier, especially financially. It's really tough to make a profit with YouTube posting videos, whether they're Buffalo or not,
Mm.
and do that consistently every month and actually make a profit. It's tough, and I'd say most people are net negative or barely net positive, but that's only if they have a lucky month. And the same applies for me too. Like I try to do my best and go and reinvest, some of that money in either, products or a new laptop or just more gambling. So maybe I could get that rare, like 5 coin trigger, or the one I posted yesterday, Buffalo Gold Collection, Wonder 4 Tall Fortunes, 5 coin super free games on a $12 max bet. Now that was like my one big one where I was like, this is exciting. And it was a
What I
mouthful,
love
huh?
about that sentence is that if someone is watching this that doesn't watch gambling videos, they're
Oh,
like,
they won't
"What did he
understand.
just say?"
It's the longest. It's like I just said so much, and yet for the right
Nothing.
person, they will hear exactly what they wanted to hear, and they go, "Wait, $12 max bet, Wonder Four
Yeah.
Tall Fortunes, all
Yeah.
four Buffalo Gold
Yeah.
collections were selected. Hmm, that's exciting." So it's
Hmm.
yeah. So I got a lot of learning experiences for my second year, and yeah, I'm excited to figure out what's coming in the future and if I'll go back or just in general. Like I like Vegas enough, but it's a very busy city, and compared to like just going to my local, there's a lot going on that I may not necessarily need, such as the clubs, the nightclubs, this and that. Like the
Mm.
massive amount of traffic, a $10 cab ride just to get to the Venetian, $10 to get back. Like if it's just at my local, I just get in the elevator, go downstairs, I
Yeah.
gamble, go back upstairs. They still have bars, they got great restaurants, so it's like, well, what do I
Mm.
want to do? But I do like the thought of exploring, more places. Like I've only been to Foxwoods once. I'd love to go back and
Mm.
spend some more quality time. Like that zip line, I'd like to do the zip line. They've got go
Yeah, you can't do
karts.
that
Want
in
to do that?
January.
Right, right. And I remember looking at it and thinking, oof, that would be cold.
Hmm.
So there,
So you had a
and
pretty good room. I think you did a room tour, if I remember correctly, of
yes,
your
yes. I
your
try
room there.
to.
Yeah.
I actually have a second channel that's not very popular. Um, it will be eventually. Don't worry. It's called the
Yeah.
Lux Life 88, and it's mostly just like
Oh yeah.
resort suites, tours. I used to put all those videos on the Good Life, but I noticed that they would just tank because my current
Hmm.
audience, they want more slots. They want a
Hmm.
little taste of a room, but most of them will not click over even on the same platform. So I
Yeah.
just started a new channel, had it all be suite tours and property tours. And
Hmm.
every 6 months or so, I'll post something. Actually, I'm working on my Caesars premium suite tour. That will
Mm.
go out. That'll be my first Lux Life video in probably 6 months. But I have a feeling it's going to go pretty good. It was a special one I filmed differently. So I'm hoping that little
Mm.
pivot may lure people into watching it because it's a little bit
Yeah.
it's longer, but it's like a custom suite tour where I'm walking around and pointing things out, and just I'm in, of course, a Caesar's robe with a Caesar's crown on. I
I
don't
was
think you
gonna
saw me with
ask.
that. Yeah.
I saw some behind the scenes, I think, on the Crow Slots Instagram, and I was like, I don't want to give too much away, but you just shared it.
No,
That
the
was
first
really
video has been shared and posted already. So that
okay.
that 5 coin trigger one was my first for Vegas yesterday,
Mm.
and I was
Mm.
full Caesar's Julius Caesar outfit. So it was good for
Mhm.
B-roll, and I've always wanted to have something like that. And I told marketing that I was planning on dressing up and walking around as Caesar, and sure enough, I did, and it was actually quite a lot of fun. The reactions I got and the employees were very like seemingly impressed. I didn't think it was that good of a
Yeah.
costume, but I think it's good
I
enough
mean,
compared to, you know, most people not dressing up at all. So it was fun. I had a lot of Hail Caesars and oh Julius, Julius, and I'm like yes, yes, or people asking me where the parking garage was, and I'm in character at this point personally. So in my mind, I was like, I don't know where your parking garage is, but I
Your
do know.
chariot is over this
Yes,
way.
it was basically went right into that. I was like, if you want the chariot, but the gambling is right over there, and that will help me great deal. And they would just look at me like, who the hell is this guy? What's wrong with him? And I'm like, I'm in character. Yes.
Yes, I am not employed by Caesar's
Yes.
Entertainment. Yeah.
No, they will definitely not be paying me for this. Maybe one
Yeah.
day. Caesar's
Maybe.
Entertainment, if you see this,
Hmm.
happy to work with you. I'm actually relatively cheap compared to most people. Just a villa for as long as I stay there. Not even the biggest villa, just one of the villas. See? We can make a deal. I already offered them. They said no, but
They
they
said
know
no.
who they are. You could say yes. That's what I'm saying. I sent them my media sheet, and they're like, "It's very nice, but we're not giving you a
No.
villa." I go, "Fine, I'll pay for my own suite upgrade, and then that'll be awesome." Which it
Hmm.
was. Which it was. I got the lowest price I've ever had on an upgrade to that particular room,
Mm.
and I was willing to spend more, but they gave me a low price. I was like, "Okay, sweet."
I will say the free upgrades can be super not I mean no pun intended, but sweet. Uh,
I had to do
but
it.
I think I didn't have to do it. It was
I'm
natural.
glad you did.
Uh,
I'm glad you did, Sean.
one
I'm
of
punny
the
kind of guy.
good. Uh, Vegas Polly C was
Yes,
on
I
my
saw your
on
interview with him.
podcast.
Yes, yes.
I think last December, maybe. I don't know.
I
It's been a
really
minute.
enjoyed all his talk about like stats and the win and how much money
Yeah,
they're making, losing, and what they do
yeah,
differently. Yeah.
yeah.
Hi,
And
Vegas
he,
policy. I don't. He doesn't know who I am, but I know who
hey,
you are.
Polly.
Hopefully, he watches
He,
your channel now that he's been on it. I don't know.
I'll tag him a few times. He'll get the idea.
Good. He'll have no choice.
Anyway, he said that he's offered stuff all the time, and he would rather pay for it and make authentic content. And while I really wish I could agree with that, the free stuff is great.
Mm,
I do find that I there is this internal battle sometimes of like, ooh, they paid me, or I there's potential here. I don't want to give the wrong impression or be
right. No.
completely honest.
Logical.
So there's a method to his madness there, and I feel like he's doing really great right now in Vegas. So
Yeah. I
shout
I
out,
think.
Polly.
Yeah. Thank you, Paulie. All just walking around and telling people the real deal, or what seems to be at least. I can't confirm
Yeah.
everything, but it's interesting to know. And some of the things you can check on the internet, and he's quoting numbers that are real. That
Right.
at least the one time I checked, the one time. That being said, I have thought about that, and I am willing to take money from a casino that I am already in love with.
Correct.
And there's always, just like any love that you may have in your heart, there's always going to be some things that you don't agree with, but you put up with because you love. And that sounds really weird, but I love properties, and some of them I don't love. And you'll notice certain properties I won't go back to or even say anything about, and not positively say anything because I don't like them, and I just stop going. I make that choice mostly because of what happens, whether it be my interactions with the customer service or just felt like it wasn't paying out well. Obviously, if
Hmm.
they're not allowing me to film, I'm gone. So
Right.
I'm not interested. But there are places that I would totally, like, if they gave me money, it's almost, I'm already saying nice things about these properties. So far, none of them are paying me. So I am saying these nice things not out of need to, but because I want to let other people know some of the cool things that they have and they're providing, and that I enjoy them. And as a person who probably also gambles, they would probably enjoy them.
Right. Right.
Simple as that. So if you want to give me,
Cash is the cherry on top.
yeah, yeah, if you want to put a little cherry on top of that with like some chocolate syrup, great. I was already going to say this stuff. I already do. You
Mhm.
can see it in all of my past videos, like my local Grayton Casino. I like them. Some people don't. Okay, you have a different
Mhm.
experience. If I have a really bad experience there, most of the time I'll just go to the customer service end, like from a regular customer perspective, and fill out one of their reviews, and they actually get back to me and say, "Oh, we can't believe this happened." Like any property, something happened that they didn't expect or they didn't want. they will try to fix it, whether it be free play or just a comped meal in the future when I return,
Yep.
something, where it's like, oh, we're sorry. We looked into what you said. You're right. You're not lying. This
Hmm.
happened. That's embarrassing. Hope this
Yep.
helps. And instead of me going out of my way and posting that negative thing, I'll just, I think of that as a personal
Let it
thing.
slide.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not a channel I'm not like a Yelp channel. I don't think of myself
Mhm.
as needing to review every little thing.
Mhm.
Every property is going to have some faults, and they don't have to have a spotlight on them necessarily unless it's something very important to me or a passion where, like, I got kicked out for wearing this hat, something like that, where I'd be like, this property doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They kicked me out for wearing a hat. Now don't go to this property. Maybe I would take that step. But
Yeah.
most of them are pretty equal. They just want my money, and I just want
Right.
entertainment. I just want an entertainment value that will
Yeah.
fill several hours or
Yeah.
days of my life, sometimes with comps, sometimes with not. But hey, if you want to Caesar's entertainment, a villa. I looked the property. Obviously, some properties of Caesar's Entertainment are a little bit older. You go to like
Mhm.
Lake Tahoe. That one's been there forever before it was even a Caesar's property. But
Mhm.
they do some upgrades here and there. But there's always something where I'm like, missed a little paint there. Not just to Caesar's property, every property. Even if you go to
Right.
Yamava or Palms or anything Vegas, maybe you see a little something where you're like, they could touch that up. But that's not going to stop me from promoting them and telling people, like, hey, if what you're really here for is gambling, guess what they have? A lot of it. Do you
A
like
lot.
gambling? Good. Okay, well, here I am. I'm at Caesar's Palace and I'm gambling in Vegas and I'm on Buffalo. How can you argue with that?
How could you argue? And we are at and over our time, my friend. So I'm gonna go ahead and
I
pivot
told you
here
I
to
have
some
unlimited
closing.
time today. I have no life.
I know. Well, here's the thing: we're 3 hours difference, and what happens in
You have
Vegas
to
does not
sleep?
stay in
Come on.
Vegas because I have this cold and I need more cold meds. So
Another.
I'm gonna go ahead and keep
All
the
right.
pivot
I see
going.
how it is.
Yeah,
Guy doesn't want to talk to me
and
anymore. I see.
you're dead to me. I would love for you to
Uh,
remind folks where they can find you online. And before you get to that, though, if there's anything else that you want to share with the audience, now is your time.
all right. Well, do you love Buffalo Gold? I know I do. Come to youtube.com/thegoodlife88. There might be an at in there, but just put it in the search bar. The Good Life 88. You're going to find so much buffalo. You're going to be full of buffalo ish. It's going to be very exciting. And if you don't like buffalo, I think you're going to start. Um, I also have some really good Dragon Link, all sorts of fun stuff. Please, please come watch my videos. Why aren't you already watching them? youtube.com/thegoodlife88. And if you like luxury suite tours, there will be a link on the bottom. You can go over and see all the suites that I stay in at all the properties.
Hey, has anybody ever told you that you have a good voice for voiceover work?
Yes, Sean, too many times. And I tell them, you know what? What are you going to pay me? I'll talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah. They just be like, "Do you like buffaloes?" Yeah.
Do you like long walks on the beach and buffaloes and your sandy hair? Well, I've got a place for you. It's called Buffalo Heaven.
Oh, okay.
That
It's a
sounded
new
a little
app
bit
by
morbid
Dan
there. Yeah, yeah.
from the Good
I
Life
would, I would,
88.
I would, if I could find a Buffalo app that's all like online slots, but just Buffalo, every Buffalo game,
Mm,
I would promote that. As long as it's fun. Just depends.
let's get on
Nobody's
it.
on the
Let's
list
get our
yet. Yeah,
finest
yeah.
minds here in America. In America, on it. Let's get it
This
going.
is what we're concentrating on. Don't worry
Yeah.
about the cures for any ailments. More
No.
Buffalo apps, just specifically Buffalo.
Correct. Well, you're
We
closer
can
to
do
Silicon
this.
Valley than I am, so I'll let you handle the tech work there. And
Nobody calls me back. They seem to think I'm some maniac YouTuber. Elon gets back to me, but that's because he's nuts. He's a maniac in a good way. I love his actually the holes in Vegas that he dug. Those are good. Good for traffic.
just him and a shovel.
Yeah, well, him in the
Those are good
boring
holes,
holes.
Elon.
Yep.
Dan, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being on the Gambling Icons podcast. This has been an awesome conversation. And yeah, just grateful that you were able to join me tonight. So thanks so
Yeah. Thanks
much.
for having me. Bye, everyone.